Everybody in agriculture.
Current drought taking a toll on Colorado farming communities.
It's going to affect the coffee shop, it's going to affect the hardware store, it's going to affect the diners.
And Kamala Harris takes center stage.
We have a chance to choose a better future for our country.
Joe Biden officially introduces his running mate.
2 new brush fires today here in the metro. The first near Highway 7 in Broomfield. That one sparked just about an hour ago. Thankfully, that one is now under control. Also to the south, South Metro crews made quick work of this fire. It was caused by a blown tire. This was near I-25 in Castle Pines this afternoon. And firefighters were able to get this one under control right before it reached a nearby apartment complex, or at least the flames. We, of course, have our eyes on the Grizzly Creek fire out near Glenwood Springs, which is still 0% contained. It has forced families from their homes, causing some major traffic detours at this hour. That closure of I-70 has expanded another 10 miles or so from Glenwood Springs to Gypsum. And this fire has grown now to more than 3,700 acres. And lastly, the Pine Gulch fire, it's now the 7th largest wildfire to ever burn in our state. It's out near Grand Junction and has grown to more than 51,000 acres.
And the whole state tonight is in a drought, some parts of the state in far worse shape than others.
On the eastern plains, hot and dry conditions are taking a toll on farmers and farming communities. Denver7's Lance Hernandez went out to Akron to see it for himself.
This corn's only about 1.5 feet tall, and it's tasseling.
There's no ear. Without an ear, it can't pollinate or form grain. It's the same all across Washington County, one of several large areas in eastern and southern Colorado experiencing extreme drought.
It's extremely stressful for anybody in agriculture this year.
Matt Pieper has been farming near Akron for 12 years.
The hot, dry winds and lack of any sort of average moisture has made it nearly impossible for a crop to survive.
Matt's Uncle Jim says the only drought he's seen that was worse was in 2002.
In 2002, we never harvested a bushel of corn, never harvested a bushel of proso.
Tough times on the farm will trickle down to Main Street in many small towns.
Well, if the farmers don't have the money, I mean, it's going to affect the coffee shop, it's going to affect the hardware store, it's going to affect the diners.
Joel Sneecloth, water resource specialist at the CSU Extension Office in Washington County and the Water Institute, is studying different types of corn and water use.
We have a very much different climate here than the Corn Belt. We don't have a spare water to waste.
The goal? To make the most of what limited underground water resources are left on the high plains.
And at the end, we'll look at the yield. That's the ultimate goal. How much yield did we get versus the water use?
The drought very evident at Pruitt Reservoir between Brush and Sterling. Water levels so low, the lake now closed to boating. Lance Hernandez, Denver7.
A family attacked in their Brighton home. The mother killed by a man with a machete. And tonight, police do have a suspect in their custody. We're glad you're joining us for Denver7 News at 5.
Let's get right to Denver7's Ivan Rodriguez. Ivan, you have been speaking with friends of the family, and they just cannot believe what happened here.
And Shannon, I spoke with the boss of the woman who was killed in this home right behind me. She tells me 51-year-old Bonnie Skinner was hardworking, caring, and a loving mother. Brighton police say Tuesday night a man the family knew and had tried helping in the past came into the home, forced his way into the home, and attacked the family with a machete. Bonnie was killed outside of this house. Her husband, 2 daughters, and a family friend were also injured. Her boss, Justine Myers, says she considered Bonnie as a family and also employed 2 of her daughters at a restaurant in Erie.
You wouldn't wish that on your worst enemy, and especially someone like Bonnie who has the biggest heart. I tell you, every time you left or she left, she'd tell everyone they loved that she loved them and to drive safe. And last time I saw her, it's just a big hug and I love you. And I know that I have that.
Police say all other family members were rushed to the hospital and are expected to recover from their physical injuries. Police say after a short pursuit, they arrested the 48-year-old suspect. They tell me he's charged with 1 homicide, 1 count of homicide, an attempted homicide, burglary, and running away from police. Live in Brighton, Ivan Rodriguez, Denver7.
So troubling. Thank you, Ivan. The mother of Caden McWilliams, that 7-year-old boy who was horrifically abused and found dead in a Denver storage unit, has been given the maximum sentence. Alicia Pankey was sentenced to 32 years for child abuse resulting in death. The court says she helped her husband hide Caden's body by putting him in a dog crate filled with cement. The Denver District Court judge said today that he sees evil in the hearts and minds of people, and goes on to say what happened to Caden was evil.
The coroner has been unable to determine how 5 family members were killed in that Green Valley Ranch house fire last week. The official report today says the cause of death and manner of death still under investigation. Police say someone intentionally torched the home where the family from Senegal lived. And there is tonight a $14,000 reward for information.
Some pretty terrifying video. This is out of Wheat Ridge, and this came from police tonight. We do want to say everyone in this video is okay. Officers say a suspected drunk driver plowed into that police car. This happened over the weekend. The police car was blocking off a crash that had happened earlier in the evening, and thankfully the officer was not in the car when that car was hit.
Well, the Air Force is trying to figure out why someone shot at one of its helicopters, injuring one of the 2 pilots. Details on Monday's incident just coming out tonight. The Air Force says it happened during routine training outside Northern Virginia. It's unclear if the helicopter was deliberately shot at or if someone was just randomly firing into the air. Well, as families get ready for back to school here in Colorado, researchers are warning they are seeing a surge in the number of children testing positive for COVID-19. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, COVID cases in children up 90% from last month, nearly 180,000 new cases. However, still child cases are 9% of all cases in the U.S. And COVID-19 cases remain steady in Colorado, another 315 today, bringing our total number to just under 52,000. 315 hospital beds are in use right now by COVID patients. There are still more than 10,000 beds available in Colorado right now.
And today we learn more about the state health department's plan to look for COVID-19 in wastewater. Yeah, the stuff you flush could help researchers search for new signs of coronavirus cases up to 7 days before infected people even show symptoms. For example, here in Denver, utilities will draw samples twice weekly from 2 large pipes that serve more than 1 million people. And those samples would then be sent to labs at CSU and MSU. More than $500,000 is going towards this project, and data results won't be made public for several more months.
A Florida sheriff is forbidding his deputies to wear masks. Marion County Sheriff Billy Woods wrote in an email yesterday that, quote, he can already hear people whining about not wearing masks, but he says it's no longer up for discussion. Marion County's largest city, Ocala, this is Central Florida, just put a mask mandate in place and says their order applies to everyone, including the sheriff's department.
To have fans or not, so far the NBA has opted for virtual fans. MLB has cardboard cutouts, but it looks like some NFL teams are still pushing to get fans out there. Today, Cowboys owner Jerry Jones announced that the team plans to play in front of fans at AT&T. And he added that the stadium has a naturally built airflow that can help keep fans safe. Also, teams like the Chiefs and Patriots are reportedly working on pods for fans to be able to watch games in person. But today, other teams like the Washington football team said its season will begin with no fans. And we, of course, reached out to the Denver Broncos to get any updates on how they see fans this season. Haven't heard back.
I am incredibly honored by this responsibility, and I'm ready to get to work.
It took a few extra hours to kick off, but after a power outage was fixed, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris officially kicked off their campaign in Delaware today. And like so much else these days, look different. Biden and Harris speaking to a near-empty arena.
Reporter Whitney Wild has more on the unique kickoff event to an election cycle that has been far from normal.
Your next Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris appearing for the first time together as running mates.
She's ready to do this job on day one.
Oh, I'm so proud to stand with you.
The next Vice President.
Typically, the running mate rollout entails a large rally.
Joe Biden.
Governor Mike Pence. Thank you.
But the COVID pandemic forced the pair and their families into a socially distanced space.
We're keeping our social distancing and playing by the rules.
Another sign of the times, Biden asked the California senator to join the ticket virtually.
First of all, is the answer yes?
The answer is absolutely yes, Joe.
While historic,
My mother and father, they came from opposite sides of the world to arrive in America. One from India and the other from Jamaica.
the pick is polarizing. Some on the left view Harris as too centrist.
The kind of Bernie Sanders wing of the party has been openly critical of her.
The Trump campaign paints her as too liberal.
Kamala Harris ran for president by rushing to the radical left.
President Trump also weighing in.
I was more surprised than anything else because she did so poorly. Many people did much better than her in the primary.
Is anyone surprised Donald Trump has a problem with a strong woman?
Biden believes Harris is the right partner to help energize the base and work towards victory in November.
I have no doubt that I picked the right person to join me.
We have a chance to choose a better future for our country.
From the White House, I'm Whitney Wild.